Hey, everybody. My name is Benji Burrell. I am the owner of Good People Technologies. We started this company 11 years ago with a purpose. Our goal is to support our community through business and supporting not-for-profits by helping them thrive. We aim to do that by helping those organizations identify what tools they need to use to run themselves efficiently and effectively. We identify the goals of that organization and figure out what tools they need to achieve those goals given where they are now. So we sit down, identify their biggest pain points and address them methodically. So we'll get into the depths of that here in just a few minutes, but my name is Benji Burrell, the owner of Good People Technologies. We produce tailored tech, which produces real results for your business. So let's get into it. So first, I want to say thank you to everyone who has joined us. We are aiming in this presentation to provide a little bit of information to you that may help you in your business and help you maybe change the way you're thinking about the tools that you use and the way they support you and the way those tools talk to each other. There's a lot of room for improvement in most organizations. And so hopefully what you learned today will prompt you to make some changes. So who do we serve as Good People Technologies? We serve a variety of different industries because they all have similar problems. Predominantly organizations that might move or create or move products, but also anybody with professional services that has a volume that's high enough for you to need systems and software to run your business. So we work with wholesalers and distributors. We work with manufacturers. We work with retailers, as well as healthcare organizations and not-for-profit organizations. A lot of folks, whether you're a wholesaler or a manufacturer or retailer, you have an e-commerce presence. So we help anybody with an e-commerce store or a website. So on the first slide, we talked about eliminating and reducing operational challenges. Well, some examples of operational challenges might be the sluggish decision making because your data is scattered across multiple systems. You may have repetitive tasks, and some tasks may be difficult to perform, especially in terms of tracking those tasks or measuring their success or failure. So you also may have data, as I mentioned, scattered, and the systems that those data are housed in are not talking to each other. So you have repetitive movement of information back and forth manually. So a few examples here. Retail companies managing inventory via spreadsheets, very common across all business types. Not-for-profit might collect data from a Google form, but then have to put it into Excel and then manually generate some reports from that or transfer it over to another customer relationship management tool. So a company might have, another company might be copying orders from Shopify from their e-commerce store and pasting them into QuickBooks or their ERP for order management. That leaves room for error. So, and these are all very common pain points that you see in businesses across all the different industries I mentioned to you. So the hidden costs of inefficiency. So inefficiency is not just not fun, it's also costing you money. So there's time lost from redundant processes in your business. There are manual errors that will occur. My friend and mentor used to call it fat fingering when you hit the wrong key as you're transcribing something. You may have blind spots in your business because you don't have opportunities for interaction with individuals because you didn't remember to do something or were not prompted to take action. You may also have lack of visibility in terms of data. You may not have the data you need to make good decisions. And then also there's tech fatigue and team frustration and turnover because of poor tools. So if your team members are not finding the tools you're using to be efficient or effective, then they will be both frustrated and also maybe not even use them. Own personal workarounds, then that's hard to scale. So streamlining the operations is not just about replacing people. It's about taking those folks that are working for you, helping them do a better job that you're asking them to do. It's about freeing them up for higher value work. So I'm a mechanical engineer by training. I studied at Virginia Tech and worked in a variety of industries. I worked as a manufacturing engineer in the military space. We made components for offensive and defensive missile systems. I've worked in fiber production, in making bulletproof vest material and high performance tire cord. All these engineering scenarios showed me technology at play in a variety of contexts. But all that engineering principle, we bring that as Good People Technologies to business operations. So here are some key principles that draw on the engineering work that we've done that may be able to help you in your business. So first of all, centralize your data. Don't let your data be siloed into separate databases. And if you can, make the databases share common records. So in other words, if you have a customer relationship management tool, it is ideal for that record for your customer to be shared with your order processing tools so that you don't have to repeat work, and that when a change in one location is made, it is updated automatically in the other. So automating repeatable tasks, that integration that I just mentioned is an automation as well. So moving a change from one system to another automatically without you having to do that. This third item, I cannot stress enough, minimizing the tools in use. So as organizations grow over time, they add and add and add tools as necessary to improve their output. Well, oftentimes those tools do not get dropped as a new one is added, and often you will find yourself with 7 or 8 or 10 different tech tools in play. So minimizing them is a big win. So connecting your tools, integrations, once again, forms of automation, and defining clear roles and responsibilities for everybody on the team, especially when it comes to data collection and utilizing the tools that you're putting in place. So a lot of companies spend a lot of money transitioning from one toolkit to another, one piece of software to another, and then don't spend enough time training people, bringing them along. So defining clear roles and responsibilities and adequate training, super important. And then tracking performance in real time. It goes without saying, but so many business owners don't track their performance in the key metrics that they use to measure success. So there's not just about dollars in and dollars out. There's plenty of other ways to measure success. You might measure the interactions, for example, with you and potential clients. So this is a simple slide. Most of you already know the answer to this, but it must be said because we're talking about business processes. What is a workflow? It's a repeatable series of steps, and it includes actions, inputs, outputs, actions, and people. And so an example workflow is bringing on a new employee. The candidate info is requested, equipment list is provided, and then actions are taken by the company and also an individual. And the individual may have to respond to a background check, for example. The outcomes are ready to work team member. So documenting and visualizing all of these workflows is extremely important in any business. I recommend the first sets of questions that I ask a new client are, what's slowing you down and where do you want to go? And then, have you written down your processes? Because if you haven't, we need to start there. Documenting what you do and making sure that you and your team know what the best process is and what you're actually doing as well. Don't fool yourself. So write it down, make a list. So let's talk about some tools that are in play in common businesses across the industries that we've talked about. So most organizations use accounting software after they get bigger than 1 or 2 people. Even one-person businesses use QuickBooks Online quite often. Xero or FreshBooks, maybe Zoho Books. You may use larger software. We'll talk about that here in a minute if you're a manufacturer, for example. But suffice it to say that accounting software is the backbone of many businesses. So if you look across the board at business software and operational tools in general, the vast majority of those tools are meant to take an action, but their output is not just an action, it's often a financial transaction. So tracking your money in a system is absolutely necessary, and everything rolls up to the money so the leaders can know what's going on in the business. So the next set of tools are communications and productivity tools like Microsoft Teams and Google Workspace, Slack as well. Now, they have cloud-based collaboration tools, email, documents, instant messaging, and things like that. Customer relationship management tools are often in play, depending, no matter what the industry, from manufacturing to retail to everybody. We use CRMs. As a matter of fact, my company internally uses all of what we have here on the screen. So then you get into enterprise resource planning software, which is a bigger version of accounting software. So this grew out of materials resource planning and manufacturing resource planning software. And now it is a generic term, a generic acronym used across many industries to represent business operational tools. The software rolls together a lot of different functionality, and it will bring together the accounting like you see here on the left. It can often bring together customer relationship management tools. It will bring together human resources tools, and also manufacturing planning, inventory management, accounts receivable, accounts payable. So many things are run through enterprise resource planning tools. And we support a lot of companies that are using tools like NetSuite, Odoo, Zoho, Microsoft Dynamics, things like that. Then you get into e-commerce. As we talked about earlier, most companies have an e-commerce presence. Almost all companies have a presence on the web, and many of them are selling things. So we support, as a company, support e-commerce providers by providing guidance. We build e-commerce stores, and we also host them and maintain them. So e-commerce, critical business tool. So then you get into the back end side of things and some customer facing tools as well. ClickUp, Trello, or Asana, they're all examples of high quality project management tools that are out there in the world, and they're absolutely essential once you start to grow. Now we'll talk a little bit more down the line, but I'm going to imagine some lines crisscrossing here. What if your project management tool and your CRM and your accounting software and your e-commerce store all use the same record for your customer in your database, and they all were able to access the same information? That's quite convenient, and that's what an ERP often is trying to do. And sometimes the ERPs don't have a good CRM, so you might bolt on another component. That we'll talk about that here a little bit more. Okay, so ERP, went into it a little bit on the last slide, but it really is a multifunctional business suite of tools. And it doesn't have to be complicated, although people often make it complicated. When you get into warehousing and you get into product information management, those are often the more complex components of an ERP system. But the key here in the lower right-hand corner, it says the key is integrations. So if your ERP, as I mentioned a moment ago, can talk to your CRM, and those systems can share common customer records, and they can see the CRM and your help desk software like a Zendesk might be able to access the order history of a customer because the customer may have called in and has an issue. So integrating these tools, depending on the system, can be quite easy or quite hard, and sometimes requires custom development, sometimes doesn't at all, and can be connected in a few minutes. So we talked about writing down your systems. I don't have any diagrams in this presentation, but we always map out integrations between systems and define exactly what information needs to transfer back and forth between those systems. Okay, so let's go from ERP as a system To automation, backing up, we talked about integrations. So how do we integrate and automate? Well, we use tools. So some automations that you may want to consider in your business, and some that we have implemented for our clients, are auto assignment of leads based on form responses. You might want to trigger an email when an inventory drops below a threshold, so your purchasing manager can go and purchase something, or make a decision or take action. You may send Slack reminders for overdue tasks for your clients, and you might consolidate monthly reports from multiple sources using integration tools. Processing orders based on input criteria. For example, we have clients that have they have a very generous return policy for returns and exchange policy, and they must inspect the goods that come back in the door before they get put back in the warehouse. So an inspection occurs, and when that inspection is completed and the results are finished, then that client is able to automatically, based on the results of the inspection, assign the next several actions for that return item, as well as that return order record, and move it on down the line automatically using triggers and tools in their ERP. So what tools do we use? There's actually one missing here from the list here. We use Zapier. Many people know that. Make.com, Boomi, SPS Commerce, Airtable, and also Celigo, Celigo. That is a platform that is quite often used to connect NetSuite to many other systems, to Shopify, for example. So this is a little homework for everybody. We're not going to go through this as a group for all the people on this call, but I'd like to have everybody take a picture of this slide and at least write down the headings. So I want you to go back to your office and sit down and pick a key process in your business, one that has a lot of pain points and one that is very critical to your business, and map it out. Start to write down the workflow, and look for your bottlenecks. Then talk to your team, ask them what their thoughts are, show them your draft, and make sure that your subject matter experts internally have input. This is very important, because when you ask for a change, they need to have input and feel like they had at least a say, and hopefully had something good to say and can provide great value in terms of feedback to you. So then prioritize the quick wins up front, the low-hanging fruit. This is a very simple set of instructions, but super important. So you get some quick wins, show people that process improvement can take place and that it can provide you with value, and then try to measure that value over time. And then wash, rinse, and repeat. So let's talk about examples. So creating a single source of truth. I've talked about that several times during this presentation. Consolidating customer data, inventory data. For example, so an electrical service company I'm speaking with has more than one warehouse, and they have more than one truck. The trucks are serviced and stocked by a different company than the client themselves, who manages the internal stocking of their physical warehouse in the building. And so their data doesn't talk, their systems don't talk, and so it causes issues. So they're looking at consolidating those. So automating the low stakes decisions if you can. For example, I heard of an example recently for the British embassy that is accepting visa applications. The vast majority of the applications did not need review, and they were rubber stamped as they moved through. And I'm not claiming that they gave away visas without reviewing, but they reviewed the data with machines and started using automation to auto assign particular individuals who might need additional review to someone, and then the throughput and the bottleneck at the agency went through the roof. The bottlenecks went down and the throughput went up when they were auto assigning things. So the last is using templates to standardize communications if you can. Proposal formats if you're a service company like myself, and consulting. But if you are sending out quotes, make sure you can automate it and repeat it. So the ERP systems that we talked about earlier, they help you by oftentimes giving you the option of building orders online with a tablet on site. quickly get it done, pass it off to the next person before you even leave the site visit. So let's see. Okay. This is important. This changes for every company. There are common ways of measuring success, and then ways that you're going to have to come up with on your own that make sense only to you and your company. But how do you know if you're winning? You have to track your actions. So take the time, make it someone, like I like to say, make it someone's baby to take care of the statistical gathering of your team. And so you understand completely what's going on in the organization. So the tools I talked about earlier, once you have the right tools in place, and then you can query these tools at points in the future, you get really good data out. And remember, garbage in, garbage out. So don't lie to yourself, don't skip, don't make things up. Just put in real information, and then you will start to learn. And look at these data over time. So the slide doesn't say it, but I always recommend using metric charts or metric measurement tools that show stacked history of, if you have forecasts, comparing forecasts to your actuals, but also just showing month by month the changes of your statistics over time, whatever they might be. It's also very helpful to publish these for your team members. So in some way, have a dashboard that is visible to the team, possibly just a display board that is connected to a PC in a facility, possibly a weekly or monthly email, just to keep people informed and motivated. I'll back up and say also, it'll help you know when you need to pivot. It's important to say, well, that didn't work, so let's move on to something that does. So it's important also to remember that technology is not the goal. It is a means to an end, and technology is there to serve us as humans and as stewards of these businesses that we're running. So make it simple, keep it simple, and make sure that you revisit the goals that you set out at the beginning as you proceed with an implementation of any tool. You have to make sure that it's actually addressing the thing that you wanted it to address. Additional bells and whistles along the way, great. Add them to the to-do or to the list of things you really appreciate about it, but double check. So the goal is to serve the humans, serve the business owners. So these are examples of opportunities that you may have, depending on your business. There on the far right, I should point out, search engine optimization is one service that Good People Technologies provides. And it's really, really helpful to small and medium-sized businesses to boost themselves up with specific keywords in Google rankings and in other search engine rankings, so that they get a chance at bat. So they have the opportunity to speak to the larger, or to the customers that they're chasing, instead of the larger businesses who are doing search engine optimization, getting the opportunity first. So web tools abound for you. Booking or donation system here, another example. There are a lot of opportunities here if you're a short-term rentals manager or owner, to bring together a series of technologies to have self-hosted booking websites that also connect out to things like Airbnb and VRBO and HomeAway and Google listings. So, think smart and look at integrations and connections between all your tools. Okay. So my organization, Good People Technologies, once again, we're here to help you. We can audit your systems. We would start any consultation with an audit. And then we would identify automation and integration opportunities. For example, that might be one of the results of the audit. We might identify that your accounting system needs some shoring up in some way or some reconfiguration. The audit might reveal that you don't need to make a big bunch of changes, just reconfigure the tools you have or start to utilize the tools you have more effectively and efficiently. So, once we identify the automation integration opportunities, we move into the implementation phase. We work hard to identify estimates of what it's going to take to complete each leg of your journey along the way. And then we move along down the line, implementing those tools. And the last item on the right, the key word is evolve. So we evolve over time. We measure success, make sure again we're meeting your goals as a company and as a business owner, and then remeasure and remeasure. So some suggestions for you moving forward. As I mentioned, do some homework, map one critical process, talk with your team, and identify those tools that you use most often, write them down, look at ways that they are communicating or not communicating with each other. And then, I suggest, of course, we can help you with this, but to get a sense of what's out there in the world, research automation and integration options between the tools that you have in play. So a bit of a repeat, but important to know some of the outcomes of the work that we do. So in helping organizations, we are able to help them streamline their operations. We help them connect their business tools like ERPs over to CRMs and all the other fun acronyms. We help them eliminate bottlenecks, identifying them first and then eliminating them. And again, the search engine optimization, we help organizations grow their online visibility. We do that by building and maintaining websites on top of the search engine optimization service. So we can build a search engine optimized site, put it out there to the world, host it and maintain it for you, and help you modify it over time as needed. So for a lot of organizations, we are a trusted partner. Good People Technologies has been around, as I said, for 11 years now, and we're very, very proud to have served dozens and dozens of clients. And here are just a few of my favorite quotes. We got hours of our week back. Our website finally brings in leads. And one of my first clients, I was fortunate enough to connect with Benji about 10 years ago. He truly saved our operations. And this last quote sums up, I think, the sentiment from several clients, but also what we hope to gain from servicing all of our clients. So from scoping to diagramming out our system architecture to implementing the solution, Benji has very strong attention to detail. His team is extremely professional and offered valuable solutions to our projects. They executed on all promised deliverables and have seen sustained performance from each implemented solution since project completion. So I'm very proud of that it makes me feel good. I'm a person who likes service. I hate the money side of business, although that's how you measure success in many respects. It's just serving folks and making them smile and helping them be successful is my goal as an individual. I'll take a side note here and say that I would like, as an individual, to be able to volunteer and play about half the time once I retire. And I ask my team members to do the same. We just want everybody on our team to wake up and try to do something good. You do something good in terms of business and supporting your clients, and then go and do something good in the world whenever, in some way, shape, or form that's meaningful to you. So mission driven, want our communities to succeed through strong businesses. So this is an example of how we've done so. Few more statistics, and then we'll close out this presentation. Several clients have reported 25% reduction in customer service calls and staff time by implementing the tools and recommendations that we have made. Another client recommended or had mentioned that they saved 2,000 hours of staff time. That's almost a year's worth of work by automating and optimizing their order processing, exchanges, and refunds tools. So that particular client, we created scripting inside of their ERP systems in order to process orders and a number of other records and convert sales orders over to different other financial records. So amazingly helpful there. Another company talked about 30% reduction in spending time on their website management. So overhauling their systems, simplifying, adding on tools that were useful to automate. Super helpful. So in conclusion, I want to thank everybody for joining me today for this webinar. My team and I are really proud to be able to go out and serve our clients. We think it's a privilege and a great opportunity to be able to solve problems of those around us. And we're lucky that we like this tech. We like playing with these tools, and it's not just play, it's adult Legos where we're actually accomplishing things, and it's fun for us. It might not be fun for you to use these tech tools, but it's really fun for us, and we're good at it. So we want to take that burden off your shoulders. So if you have any questions, if you have any issues that you'd like to talk through, please reach out to me. My telephone number is here on the screen. That is our direct number to the business, 828-283-0744. And the email address, solutions@goodpeopletech.com. Our website, goodpeopletech.com, is easy to get to, and there's more information there, including testimonials from a number of our clients. You can also learn more about our work with ERP systems and search engine optimization. There are price sheets there, for example, for the SEO work. So again, thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate everyone attending. I hope you found something valuable here, and please give us some feedback. Our team member, Roman Zaravlov, here is on the line as well, and he has been monitoring the questions, and he will also follow up with the rest of the attendees, and even those who could not make it but expressed interest. Will be sending this recording out. And again, I hope you enjoyed it and learned something useful. So thank you very much, and I hope you have a wonderful day.